Every family deserves the opportunity to achieve their goals and dreams. At Primerica, we've been helping families achieve financial security for more than 40 years by providing them with the education they need to make the right decisions for their financial future.
We've sat down with hundreds of families. The majority are living paycheck to paycheck and are financially behind in all areas of their life.
We teach people how money works.
And we're changing the way that financial services are delivered so that families from all walks of life can be better prepared for the future.
We represent the colorful quilt that is North America.
As a family, financial security is key. Money is not everything, but you gotta be smart about it to be able to have a good life.
There's a peace of mind that comes with freedom.
The freedom of knowing that you're on a path to a secure financial future.
Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to this special event. I'm Glenn Williams, the CEO of Primerica, and it's my privilege to be your host this evening. And I want to thank you for joining us, whether you're here live in the studio at number 1 Primerica Parkway with us, or whether you're watching remotely at thousands of locations across the United States and Canada. It's great to have you with us. This broadcast is a unique event to kick off 2026. And at Primerica, we love events. We love big events and unique events. And during 2026, we'll be hosting leadership events at 3 world-class destinations. And so you can see them on the screen right now. They're the JW Marriott in Marco Island, the Broadmoor Resort in Colorado Springs, and the Hotel Del Coronado in San Diego, California. And our teammates are competing to attend these leadership events right now. In addition, we're also hosting major events that anybody can attend. These are our Builder Summits coming up this spring. You can see on the screen right now the dates from April through June, 5 different locations. You can see the venues in each city. And right now, Primerica teammates, all Primerica teammates are planning to attend. If you're a guest with us this evening and you'd like more information about those Builder Summits, please check with the person that invited you tonight. They'll be glad to give you the details. This evening, we're focused on freedom for families. And we're all blessed to live in 2 great countries, the United States and Canada, which value freedom. But the reality of it is, in order to exercise our freedoms, often it comes down to finances. Often it comes down to our incomes. And so at Primerica, we focus on 3 important things. We focus on protecting existing income. We also focus on investing for future income. And we focus on growing income through a genuine business opportunity. That's what creates financial freedom for families. Tonight, we're going to be joined by 4 successful Primerica leaders to tell our story. First, we'll be hearing from Mario Arizon. Mario and Franny reside in Riverside, California. Mario was a student prior to Primerica with absolutely no experience in business. He joined our company in 2005, just a little over 20 years ago, and today earns $2.2 million per year from his primary Primerica business. Mario is going to be followed by Bobby Gokul. Bobby and Candy are from Vaughan, Ontario, Canada. Bobby was an entrepreneur before being introduced to Primerica. And Bobby and Candy are some of the founders of our business in Canada, joining us all the way back in 1988. And today they earn $2.3 million per year from their primary Primerica business, as well as additional compensation from other Primerica businesses. After Bobby, we'll hear from Mika Saunders. Mika and Jonelle are from Chicago, Illinois. Mika was a nurse prior to Primerica. She's now been with us for 12 years, and her annual income today is $1.5 million. And finally, our closing speaker this evening will be Keith Otto. Keith and Danielle are from Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey. Keith's former occupation was a plumber, which is the perfect background for a career in finance. He joined Primerica in 1988 and today is a $3.4 million per year earner from his Primerica business. But as we consider the new year, 2026, it might be helpful to think back and see how we finished 2025 in a record-breaking year for this company, serving clients, serving families in those areas of income I just mentioned. You see, at the end of 2025, we now have $968 billion of protection in force. That's protecting existing income. It's a record for Primerica and one of the largest numbers in our industry. Also in 2025, we set records with $14.9 billion in annual investment sales and $28 billion in assets, or $128 billion in assets under management. That's investing for future income. Record levels, our biggest year ever in those two areas. And finally, we set a record last year by paying our sales force $1.25 billion in cash compensation. That's growing income through a business opportunity. But now, let's look forward into 2026 and how your future can be impacted by Primerica. To get us started, please help me welcome the great Mario Arizon.
Before I get started talking about business and who we are, I want to let you know why we started. See, that's what separates us from every company out there. See, what happened is someone's mother got taken advantage of. What happened was these insurance agents, these financial guys, they say they put us first, but when they get a chance to make more commission, they put their family first. They sold a policy that in the late 1960s, 100,000 was a lot more than what it is right now. And the mom, for the same amount of money that she was paying, she only got 10,000 when she could have got 10 times the amount. But the agent was looking out for himself. Well, they messed with the wrong person's mama. To this day, if you talk to Art Williams, he says, I never forgave them for what they did to my mama. To this day. See, when you take advantage of someone's mama, it's no longer business. Now it's personal. This man wasn't just going to sit on his hands like a lot of these leaders. You know what he did? He started studying it and learning what it was all about. And he found out that all of his friends, all of his coaching friends, all of his teachers, they had the same thing. And he decided to do something about it. See, our goal was never to be in the New York Stock Exchange like you see on this slide here. 150,000 representatives under PRI, worth over $8 billion and growing. That was never our goal. Our goal was just to do what's right for people. And by doing what's right, look what happened. Forbes started showing us recognition. Best employer for women. Give yourselves a hand for that. That's a big deal. Look at this. I believe it's like 23 years in a row. If you just get one of these awards one time, best customer service when it comes to investments, just one is amazing. 23 years in a row. That was never our goal. Our goal is just do what's right for people. And guys, you see all this stuff, like, look, I'm gonna show you proof. I was actually there in the New York Stock Exchange. A kid, look at this, guys, a kid from Pacoima. My beautiful wife there, a girl from Compton. Guys, you wouldn't believe how many times we felt out of place. My identity, man, I don't belong in places like this. And I'm being honest with you, I remember just being in this meeting, and I was like, man, what if this is true? And I remember I couldn't sleep. How many of you guys remember the first night you seen this, you couldn't sleep? Like, what if this is true? What if everything I prayed for, everything I want, it's right here? And guys, it over-delivered. See, I want you to understand that I remember going to places and feeling out of place, like my very first opportunity night, like you're here. I didn't dress like this. My dad said, dress up, I got you a job, show up. It's not even a job. I didn't know what it was. I showed up to the first meeting, and guys, I hanged out with all the cool black kids, all the cool Mexican kids. So back in the day, we all wanted to be like Jay-Z. I'm just being honest with you, right? And I remember having my Timberlands on, I had my swag, my baggy pants sagging, my earrings on, and I sat right in the front of the meeting. And guys, I honestly didn't know what this was everything all about. I seen 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds in there. I was the only kid in there 19 years of age. And they kept on going up to me and saying, hey, kid, where's your parents? And I'm like, they're at home. They were trying to tell me to go in the back. Because every time, I'm not kidding, guys, every time the speakers will get up there, they'll look at me and they'll get distracted like, oh my goodness, right? And guys, it was not a big meeting at the time, but I'm letting you know, I stood up and I remember like it was yesterday, Art Carrion, he closed out the meeting and I thought it was so boring. They were talking about insurance, investments. I'm like, what? That's for old people, right guys? I was thinking that at 19, but this guy, he started talking about like, Mario, we're gonna show you. He didn't say my name, but I felt like he was talking to me. He's like, we're gonna show you how to get a championship ring like this. We're gonna be able to travel. Man, it don't matter where you come from. It don't matter if you're tall, you're short, if you're fat, if you're skinny. Man, even your education. I'm like, is this guy talking to me like someone told? Like, by the way, I'm not short, all right, guys? I'm just down to earth. Don't hate because I'm down to earth and you're not, okay? But I remember like, dude, oh my God, this is my shot. This guy talked to me, and I got started. But I remember like it was yesterday, like I just felt like, man, is this really for me? Is this really for me? I remember going to Olive Garden for the first time with my girl, Franny. And I'm like, man, this is so fancy, Olive Garden. And I was so nervous, I didn't know what to order. I'm like, Franny, you order for us, whatever you want. And then the lady came up and she's like, hey, do you want a super salad? I'm like, a super salad? That sounds amazing. I'll get one of those. She's like, oh no, son, a soup or salad? I'm like, you talk too damn fast, right, guys? I was so embarrassed. They embarrassed me in front of my girlfriend. I was like, dude, I don't belong in places like this. My identity was like, I'm not good enough to eat at restaurants like this. I'm serious, guys. We think so little of ourselves because the people that are around us, who we surround ourselves with, and then, guys, I realized that life is a championship fight. And who's in your corner is everything. I thought so little of myself because of my grades, where I grew up, how I grew up. But then I got a mentor with Susan and Art Carrion that breathed belief into me until I can start believing for myself. Change everything. See, who's on your corner is everything. I want you to understand this. Imagine you're asking single people advice about your marriage. You're gonna end up single. A lot of you guys are gonna ask people about your business that never had a business, that never built something. And the moment you get a little bit of adversity, guess what's gonna happen? They're gonna tell, oh man, that's why I got a secure job, guaranteed pay, and you're gonna throw in the towel. See, who's in your corner is everything. I remember when I wanted to throw the towel in my relationship, not around my mentors. They're like, you're gonna quit over that? You should have seen what me and Art did, and this and that. I was like, oh, dang. And you know what she said? That's not where you throw in the towel, that's where you throw in your heart, son. Man, you're gonna remember this is where it gets good. Same thing in business. See, guys, who's in your corner on this company? Try 2,800 employees, world-class support system. Guys, give this company a hand, right, guys? I'm telling you. We have a one-stop shop for all the financial products that are needed out there. Guys, and the last thing someone needs, it's something to be sold right now. They need a solution. Everyone's trying to pitch something to them. We have the solutions. Guys, you know what's so crazy talking about the crusade? How they took advantage of that man's mother. He did something about it, but it's worse today. 60% of new policies being sold are just like that, if not even worse. We need you like never before. You can sit on your hand and say, hey, at least it's not my family, or you can learn this, be your hero. You have no idea. How many of you guys out there would help your own family for free? Raise your hand if you would help them for free. Some of you guys are mean, you didn't raise your hand. Like, no, I'm like, dang. I would help my own family for free. No one's showing us about our FIN number. You're like, well, what's that? Your financial independence number. See, everyone talks about having a pile of money. That's how you're broke. If you have a pile of money in the safe, pile of money in the bank, well, guess what? Eventually, inflation will eat up your money. Eventually, you will eat up your money and you're broke again. But we show you how to create a river of money, how to invest your money, the amount of money you need to have saved up, invested, that you can live off the interest and take care of yourself. But generations to come, we teach you, guys, we teach you the money language. I want you to understand that just like English is a language, just like Spanish is a language, so is money. So is greatness. And talking about feeling out of place, my girlfriend at the time, now is my beautiful wife, she's like, hey, let's go do a manicure and pedicure. I'm like, what? Like, that's kind of weird. And she's like, no, babe, it's sexy when guys do it. I'm like, all right, let's go then, right? So I went, and as soon as we were there, I swear, like, they started laughing and talking a different language, and I felt so uncomfortable. I'm like, babe, they're talking about us. Like, she literally looked at my tongue and started laughing, like, what the heck, right? She's like, no, babe, no, you're insecure, stop, right? And I'm like, I don't know. I kept on going a couple years with her, right? I ended up liking it, right? I'm like, this is pretty awesome. And I said, hey, be honest with me, be honest. When you guys are talking, you guys talking smack? And she started laughing. She's like, sometimes. I'm like, I knew it. I told her, like, I knew it. I knew it. I'm like, oh my. And you know what's so crazy? I want you to understand this, guys. I remember feeling so out of place even there. But it's not that they were making fun of me, guys. I just didn't understand the language. So right away, we assumed the worst. That's why we got to learn this. See, some people join our business because they dislike their current job. They know there's something inside of like, dude, there's got to be more. I remember at 19 years of age, giving it everything I got in my job and say, hey, we get paid by the hour, Mario. You're making us look bad. Why are you working so hard? I'm like, what? And then someone told me, like, Mario, no matter how hard you work, they're going to pay you the same money. Why do you do that? Wait, I was like, this sucks. I realized that, dude, people that have been there much longer than me make way more money, even though if I outwork them. I was already bothered at 19 years old, like, there's got to be more. Some people join our business just to make extra income. They love what they do, but an extra income would change their life. That's another reason why people join. The third reason, and I want you to see this, guys, is financial education. I knew, like, if I don't learn this, who's going to teach my parents? I feel like the modern day Robin Hood. I don't steal the information from the rich, but I borrow it and I bring it back to the hood. Or I'm just being real with you, or the neighborhoods. I'm like, look, this is what the wealthy do. Not one time is someone upset, like, how dare you show me a financial game plan? They're like, thank you, Mario. Thank you for caring. See, number 4, they love helping people. I love people. I love helping people. I would do this business for free. I would have a different business to make sure I have my business going, but I would help people for free. And a lot of you guys are the same way. You eat at a good restaurant, right away you're referring everybody. You watch a good movie, you refer everybody. That's how people are about this. Imagine someone that shows you how to be free, how to get out of debt, how to properly protect your family. No more GoFundMes, no more car washes as someone passes away. Guys, we're heroes. You wouldn't believe how many death claims I delivered in their darkest moments. We are heroes to families out there. I love this company. I love what we do. And some of you guys might be number 5. That you want to own your business, that everything you work hard for is yours. I love that about this. That, guys, I realized this about this business, that, man, before, when we would go on vacation, our bank account would drop because everything's expensive. Guys, you can build a business that you don't have vacations, you have paycations now. That while you're on vacation, you're still getting paid because you have a business. And I know some of you guys are feeling, man, can I do this? Can I do this? The answer is yes, if you're willing to learn. If you're willing to learn the language of greatness, if you realize who's in your corner. Guys, I hope you make that decision today. If you feel something in your stomach, you're feeling like, man, what is that? It's not pressure. It's God telling you. It's your intuition telling you, like, maybe this is it. Just like it changed my life, and my colleagues are going to come up. Thank you so much.
Please welcome Bobby Gokul.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Mario talked about in terms of how our company was started and a purpose. You see, every great business today has a purpose, right? See, our purpose when our company was created was to create financially independent families. But you just can't have a purpose. You got to have a mission. How are you going to go about doing it? And see, what we do at Primerica is we help families earn more income, become properly protected, debt-free, and financially independent, because we believe all areas are very important. And so when you take a look at what's happening in our society today, as much as we know families are hurting, well, let's take a look at some of the things that are happening today. Most people today are facing financial challenges. You look at the way our world is today, there's a segment of the population that's enjoying what's happening, but there's another segment that's struggling. And what are the causes of some of these issues? The first one is a lack of financial education. Right? In Canada and the United States, the vast majority of our population lacks financial literacy. So if you don't understand financial matters, then you're not going to get hurt by it, you're going to get killed by it. Most people today don't have a plan. People have plans for the weekend, vacation plans. As a matter of fact, most people spend more time planning a vacation than they spend planning their financial future. And if you look at the statistics, they say most of the people who are wealthy, they have plans. As a matter of fact, 47% of the people across North America don't have any written plans. And then they don't have a financial professional working. In most other areas of our life, we take our cars to mechanics, we go to dealerships, we go to doctors, we go to dentists. But something as so important as our financial health, we don't have. And so when you look at it, when you take a look, what is the result of that? In the United States, the top 10% controls 70% of the wealth. The bottom 50% fights for 3% of the wealth in the same country. And we believe, at Primerica, we believe the issue is because of lack of information. Let's take a look at some of the financial challenges. Nearly half of Americans and a significant portion of Canadians, today you ask them, they're living paycheck to paycheck. They're finding life difficult. Most people think credit card has become a way of life. How many people have an emergency fund? Right? And if you take a look at insurance, because of all these debts and issues, a lot of people don't have protection. Some don't even know how much protection they have. And a lot of people today are running out of money. Just think for a situation. You go to your doctor, and your doctor says, because of all the great research and advancement in medicine, you're going to live another 20 years. But then when you look at your finance says you got another 5 years. How scary is that? A lot of people are in that situation, right? And when you take a look, this shouldn't happen. North America is less than 8% of the world's population and controls 40% of global wealth. How in a society where we have so much, so many people feel like they have so little? And one of the issues is that most people don't plan. We say people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. They don't understand the importance of planning. And see, we at Primerica, we believe you should plan. It's not only for the rich. One guy said to me once, he says, Bobby, planning is only for the rich. I said, no, that's how they got rich. Because they plan, you should have a plan. And we at Primerica, we produce a customized, confidential plan, and we provide as a complimentary service, because a lot of places may charge people. We want to make this available to every North American family. It will help you achieve your goals and dreams. And we're going to teach you, and we're going to show you how to understand important numbers in your life, like your financial independence number. That's how much money you need so that one day you never have to worry about money. Your income protection number. If you were to pass away, how much insurance you need to have in place to take care of your family. And your debt freedom date, where you can wake up one day and says, I'm really free, I have no debt obligations. These are things that people dream about. We will tell you. We'll not only tell you, we'll provide an education, and then we will offer solutions. But one of the things that separates us, I said, Bobby, what separates you guys from other financial companies? See, we don't just work with assumptions. We also work with your aspirations. You see, somebody's going to sit with you and you says, okay, these are my goals. And I'm going to say, this is your income. So what you need to do is to adjust your goals to your income. We said, no, that's not how it's supposed to be. Let me show you how you can increase your income so you can live your goals. That's why our mission statement is probably a little bit different from most financial companies, because we have the part where to show you where you can make more money. We don't tell you you need to downsize your life. We tell you you can be anything you want to be. Because you see, look, people who have a plan have 3 times the net worth of people who don't have a plan. So when you look at the stuff and you see people who are getting ahead and they're wealthy and they're doing great things, where money is not a stress to them, but money is a strength, folks, it's just that they're playing a game that you're playing, but they know the rules. And that's what we do at Primerica. We will teach you the rules of the money game, right? And, you know, it's a very simple rule. And the rules are not complicated. They're not very complex. They're very simple. There's a rule called the Rule of 72. Very basic math. All it says, you divide the interest rate you get on money, on the return on your investment, into the number 72. It will tell you how long it takes to double. So let's say if your money is earning 3%, it's going to double every 24 years. So over a 48-year period, your $10,000 becomes $40,000. But if you double the interest rate to 6%, you'll get $160,000. How about if you get 12%? You'll get $2.5 million. And you see, one of the things that what we have when we work with people is that we work with families to make it simple. See, people understand time, you know, and think about it, you know, if you got a little nephew who last year was 10 years old and you get a birthday party and you're celebrating, you know, little Johnny's 11 years old, you understand it's 1 year. You don't say little Johnny has now aged by 10%, right? And so one of the things that what we do is that we communicate in the language so that people can understand. But folks, just think for a minute. If you were to realize that over a 48-year period, you could either have 4 times the money, 16 times the money, or 256 times the money. See, I could relate to that because I can say it took me 5 years to save this $10,000. And you're telling me if I invest this $10,000 in the right vehicle, I could have 256 times the money that it took me 5 years? In my head, I go, wow, that's 256 times 5 years. That's why the rich gets richer. So the question is, how come people don't know the rules? Why they don't teach us this in school? We should have learned this, right? And see, we live in a society of laws and rules, but not where it comes to our finance. And that's why Albert Einstein said, compound interest is the most powerful force in the universe, right? And so we got to understand, but you see, compound interest works undisturbed. And that's why it goes back to where we show you to make more money. Because sometimes most people, when they should have compound interest working for their investments, they have a put and take account. By taking advantage of our opportunity at Primerica, when you see more of my colleagues going to share with you tonight, you can able to make additional income so you don't have in terms of to worry about that, right? Because understand, right? Compound interest is exponential. Compound interest, things that grow. You see, salary is linear. Ownership is exponential. What's the difference between that top 10% and the bottom 50%? The top 10% have most of their money in ownership investments, stocks, real estate. The bottom 50% have most of their money in cash. Just simply think, in the last 40 years, if you had invested money in cash, you would have had 3 times the money. In stocks, you would have had 45 times the money. Just think of the power, right, of financial literacy and being able to make the right decisions. But you see, the other thing is that because we don't understand how these things work, we procrastinate. And one of the biggest mistakes middle-income families make, right, they don't realize is that the cost of missed opportunities, right? And the wealthy talks about opportunity cost. If I don't do this, what it will cost me. And a lot of people sometimes think to accumulate wealth, you have to start with a lot of money. So we teach you basic principles. Pay yourself first, right? And one of the most important things is that you pay the most important person in your life. Folks, when I came in this business, I was in my 20s, and I learned all of this stuff at Primerica. And one of the things that my wife and I have done over the years is that we've always maintained one thing. We pay the most important person in our life first. That's us. Then we figure out how we pay everybody else. But we not just pay ourselves. We don't save it, we invest it. We invested in ownership investments, right? But think about $200 a month over a 40-year period at 9% will give you $943,000. You delay it by 1 year and $2,400, it costs you $83,000. How many people who can save $200 a month can afford to lose $83,000? Right? They probably, you see, they don't understand. You wait 5 years, $12,000, it costs you $350,000. You wait 15 years, it costs you $717,000. People say, well, I never had $717,000. No, this is what it costs you. What you don't know won't hurt you. It will kill you. And that's what we teach you here at Primerica. We educate you so you don't have to make the mistakes. But you see, if you're a young person, it doesn't matter what age, but especially for younger folks, because I came in my 20s. Your biggest advantage is your time horizon. You got time. right? But it's going to go rapidly. Remember, in this world, there is a limited amount of time, but there is an unlimited amount of money. Don't be afraid in terms of investing. And you see, how real and serious are these problems? Folks, think about it, right? Emotions are always adjacent to money. Think about life. If you have a lot of money, homes will have a lot of money. Think about high crime neighborhoods and low crime neighborhoods. Think about all of the things that impact in terms of that. You see, what company can do that, focus on helping Main Street families like we do at Primerica? Why we can do it? Because most of us came from Main Street. We understand Main Street. We understand the issues they have. We understand how little information they have that's accessible to them. And that's why we pride in what we do at Primerica. There is no other company that can deliver for families like what we deliver at Primerica, because we just don't have a purpose and a mission. That is the way. When I came in this business, I saw that, I got excited, and I realized later in my life, I just didn't join a business, I joined a movement. And today, I'm telling you, this business has been incredible for us. We've been able to help so many families. We have built wealth that's going to last from generations to generations. But you see, folks, when I came to the meeting and I sat in there and the guy was presenting, I was in my 20s, and I was listening, and I said, man, my goal is that if I could have $1 million in my 30s, I'd be the happiest guy in the world. And in my head, I figured if I made $5,000 a month, I could live on 2, I'd invest 3, and 10 years later, I'd have $1 million. I was fired up. I asked the person who invited me if I could join. And throughout my career, people asked me, what has been the key to your success, Bobby? I said, I've just been lucky. He said, how have you been lucky? He said, the day I came to that op meeting, I was prepared. And the definition of luck is when preparation meets opportunity. I hope today is your lucky day. Thank you.
Please welcome Mika Saunders.
Hello, hello. I am super excited to talk about this topic tonight. See, Bobby talked about it being your lucky night. So I want you to ask yourself, is tonight your lucky night? See, because 11 years ago, I sat in a meeting just like this, and it was my lucky night. See, even though I had gone to school, became a registered nurse, and was already making a decent amount of income, I understood that in that 1-hour meeting, they had taught me more financial concepts than I had learned in 4 years of college. And so I'm gonna teach you a couple of those concepts tonight, and you go ahead and make the right decision for you and your family. But that first concept that I really, really enjoyed was called the theory of decreasing responsibility. All right, so ask yourself, have you heard of this or have you not? And so the theory of decreasing responsibility is very important because, see, when it comes to income protection, right, when it comes to life insurance, in the early years, you might need a lot of insurance, right? You need a lot of coverage because you have young children, high debt, and house mortgage. And so a loss of income would be absolutely devastating. Okay? But in the later years, you may not. And so we want to make sure that we help people and protect them against dying too soon. See, but in the early years, you may not have a lot of money, right? In the later years, you better have a lot of money because at retirement, you have grown children, lower debt, and your mortgage is paid off. And so retirement income is needed. And so, see, what we do here is we show you how to make sure that you adjust the amount of insurance coverage that you need in the early years to the later years. We show you how to grow your money over time so that you can be protected against living too long as well. We show you how to become self-insured. See, I want to ask you, what life insurance company do you know of that teaches people how to eliminate the need for life insurance? Because that's what we do. All right, so I want you to go ahead and imagine a little bit for me, right? Just imagine, like, what if you had a toaster, okay? What if you had a toaster in your kitchen that on the 1st and the 15th of every month, $2,000 popped out? $2,000, 1st and the 15th, that's $4,000 a month. Now, would you like that toaster? I think you would, right? Yeah, you would, right? Now, would you insure that toaster? You probably would, right? Because you want to ensure that that $4,000 continues to come in every single month. See, unfortunately, there is no such thing as a toaster that would pop out $4,000 every single month, okay? And so it makes sense to, if it makes sense to insure a toaster, I'm sure it will make sense to insure your income. So let me give you a more practical example, all right? When it comes to making sure that we have the proper protection for our family, see, think about this. The typical family has a wife and a husband, and typically both of them are bringing in income, right? And so let's say for this example, we have $3,500 coming in from the wife, we have $3,500 coming in from the husband, and so that's about $7,000. They're paying mortgage, they're paying for their car, they're paying for insurance, credit cards, utilities, groceries, and childcare. So now they're paying all of these expenses, and so they need that income. But see, what happens when one of those parents are no longer there? What happens if the father were to pass away? What does that family do? See, what we really do, I know we call it life insurance, but it's really income protection. We say that we're protecting lives, but we're really protecting that income. And so the power of what we do is so important. See, we understood that when we sit down with families, we understand that most people are underinsured or completely uninsured. And so when we sit down with them, we explain the importance of why they need income protection. 9 times out of 10, they always go forward, all right? And so we want to make sure that if that happens, the family can still sustain itself. And so let me go into a little bit more detail because we sit down with families and sometimes they already have life insurance. And we always tell you guys, look, if you have people that already have life insurance, those are the first people that we need to go ahead and meet with, right? Sometimes people come into our business and they think, oh, my cousin, my sister, they already have insurance. But do you know if they have the right type of insurance? Do you know if they are properly protected? And see, that's where we come in. We're able to help in those areas. And so take a look at this example here. So let's just say, we sat down with the family and they had a cash value plan. All right, so cash value could be different names like whole life, universal life, index universal life, or variable life insurance, okay? And so we sit down with this family on the screen, and the husband has $100,000 in coverage. The wife has $100,000 in coverage. These are John and Mary, okay? And they are paying $235 per month. All right. Now, with this, they have a cash value that's accumulating. And people sometimes say, I want the type of insurance with a cash value, right? But once I finish explaining this, I want you to then tell the person sitting next to you if you still want that kind of insurance. And so if they're paying $235 per month, after about 30 years, when that couple is 65 years of age, they will have saved $74,227 in that cash value account. Right? And some people may think that that's a lot of money. But I want you to ask yourself, is that an amount of money that you could retire off of? Could you do anything substantial with that amount of money? Right? And so let me give you a different option. And it's called buy term and invest the difference. And so in this case, we sit down with John and Mary, we educate them, and now they're able to get $250,000 in coverage on John, $250,000 in coverage on Mary, and now they're paying $82 per month. See, this is a very important piece of what we do. See, when I came into the business, I already had insurance, okay? But I was paying $50 a month for a very small amount of insurance. But in this same situation, my representative educated me just like this, and I was able to get 5 times the amount of coverage, just like John and Mary. And so what we did for them is we got them more coverage for less money. And so we took the remainder of that money, the $153, and we put it into an investment plan. All right, so let's just say this investment plan was getting 9% rate of return. And now instead of this money growing to just over $74,000, it's going to grow to over $282,000. Now let me ask you, would you prefer to have $282,000 or would you prefer to have $74,000? Exactly, $282 every single time. And so, again, when you go back to thinking about those family members that you think are already in good standing, they already have insurance, do they have enough coverage? Do they have the right type of coverage? Are they being educated like we're educating you tonight? Right? And that's exactly what we do. So let's just imagine that some of you came on tonight, right? You're watching, you're here, you're looking to make some additional income. And let's say you stepped out on faith and you made a decision that you wanted to go ahead and come forward with us. I want to show you exactly what it looks like when we sit down with the family. And so I just gave you the example of the income protection. That's that first column there. And so as you see there, we have that $153 per month in savings that we're going to invest. But see, we don't only do income protection. As Bobby talked about, we also make sure that we educate on investments and we also put those investments in place. And so when we sat down with the family, when you sit down with this family, you would then see that John and Mary also have $20,000 in an IRA at the bank. Right? And so we know that the banks don't necessarily give the best interest rate, right? And so see, John and Mary do not know that, but because you're bringing experts with you to your friends and family, guess what? We're gonna go ahead and educate them and show them how to put that in a better place. And so now let's just say they have this $20,000 in the bank and they're earning 1.5%, and they're putting in $105 per month, okay? Every single month. Now, over that time frame, when they're 65, that money will grow to just over $79,000. Again, not a ton of money, especially if you are planning for retirement. Ask yourself, how long could a person stay retired with just over $79,000? Not very long, right? And so we sit down with them, we educate with them, and we roll that $20,000 over into an IRA, and we put that money into a mutual fund, all right? And so those monthly contributions will increase. See, because with the life insurance, we save them $153 per month, right? And now we have this $105 per month that they were already investing. We're gonna add those two together and put that into an investment. And so now if they get a 6%, just a 6% rate of return, that money will grow to just over $380,000. But see, we don't stop at just 6%. So let's just say they were able to get a 9% rate of return. And now that money will grow to just over $770,000 in that mutual fund account. See, that's what we do for families. We understand that people do not understand the money game, and so we like to put them in a better position. But see, we don't stop there. We also want to make sure that we help them when it comes to their debt. Think about all of the people that you know that are in debt. The debt is crushing them. Well, we have solutions for those families, all right? And so when we sit down with John and Mary, they do have some debt, about $50,208 in credit card debt and other consumer debts, and they are paying $1,558 per month. See, so we are in the mortgage game as well, and so John and Mary, they own a home, and we're able to consolidate that debt and get them a loan, a new HELOC, and we're able to go ahead and refinance that debt, and now their new monthly payment is gonna be only $487 per month. So we consolidated the debt, got them a lower interest rate, and now they're paying less money per month towards that debt, and so we saved them over $1,000, y'all. That is a big deal. That is what we do. And so, see, we're not asking families to spend more money. We're asking them to go ahead and save more money. And that's what we do. So as I wind down here, I'm going to show you just how we get paid, because a lot of people come on board with us from a part-time perspective. A lot of people do not want to necessarily leave their career, and you do not. And so our very part-time position is something called a district leader. And so if you were to sit down with John and Mary, you get to district leader, which your trainer will train you to that point. You become a district leader. Now, just for the life insurance, that would have paid you $428. For the investment plan, that would have paid you $404. And then for the mortgage plan, that would have paid you $378, totaling just over $1,200 just for helping one family. See, as a registered nurse, it would have taken me 2 days to make that amount of money. And so we want to make sure you understand how big, what the job is that we truly do for people. And let's just say you decided to go ahead and become a regional vice president. See, at that bottom circle, that blue circle, you would have made $941 on the life insurance. You would have made $716 on the investment and $496 on the mortgage plan. And so as you move up, you make more money. But the biggest part of this picture is what Keith is going to talk about, and that's going to be you becoming a true builder, a business owner. So make sure you are listening up for that. And that's all I have, guys.
Please welcome Keith Otto.
How you guys doing? Excited to be with you tonight. I'm sitting back there watching the first few speakers, and it reminded me the first time I sat through my business briefing was December 1987. I was 22 years old. I showed up to a meeting in Secaucus, New Jersey, and you heard a bunch of different people tonight. Glenn Williams, the greatest CEO in the country right now, in my opinion. He's from Georgia. You heard Mario's from California. Bobby Gokul's from Toronto. Mika's from Chicago. And I'm from Jersey. You guys ever hear of Princeton University? That's not funny. I didn't go there. It's in New Jersey. And I always kid around. I never finished college because I never started. But I remember showing up and listen to the numbers. And I showed up in 1987. I was a plumber. I didn't go to college. I was a 22-year-old kid. I'm sitting in the back of the room. I got my hat on backwards, had my earring hanging down because I was bad back then. And I remember sitting there watching the first few speakers, and they talked about, well, we help people. And I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm a plumber, and I teach at karate school, and I'm here to help people. And the first few speakers started talking about what we did, and they talked about insurance, and I didn't own any insurance. They talked about mutual fund. I thought the person said neutral fund. True story. No one ever came up to me in high school and go, hey, Keith, how's your mutual fund? Doing good, Bill. How about yours? I thought mutual fund was something you did with a girl on the weekend, a little mutual fund, right? I didn't know what a mutual fund was. But I remember sitting in that meeting, and the last speaker got up and talked about what I'm going to talk about, and he talked about the 2 O's, ownership and overrides. He talked about building a business, building a company within a company. And I was making $70,000 a year in 1987, and I was broke. I was making 70 and spending 100. I just Googled it, so it's got to be true. $70,000 in 1987 is equivalent to $199,000 today. 22-year-old kid with no education. And the first thing that the person said is, there a need for what we do? There's a huge need. Any business, you got to fill a void. If in North America, people are downsizing and right-sizing and job forward, and we're on a tremendous expansion phase. Think about it, the first week in January in 2026, and we've got thousands, tens of thousands of people right now. We're playing offense. We're not downsizing. We're expanding. Now think about that. Is there a need for what we do? Right? Think about the insurance. Does your auto insurance have an investment in it? Does your homeowner's insurance? I have a motorcycle insurance, a boat. I fly a little plane. No insurance has an investment. Damn it, why should your life insurance? And so the average person doesn't need to be sold, they need to be told. So as great as our company is, and in North America, we got more securities license reps, more life insurance license reps. Folks, if you look at our first slide, we've got less than 3% market share. Because every time we get somebody out of debt, there's more people being put back into debt. Every time we show someone how to save money where they're spending, there's more people getting sold something. And so when you look at our goal, I always tell people my goal is to capture 10% market share. If we could grow this company 10%, and as great as our company is, we still have less than 3% market share. There's a huge need for what we do. But I want to talk to you about business for a second. Have you ever thought about being in your own business? We've all thought about it or dreamed about it, man, how cool. I always wanted to be in my own business. I used to caddy at a golf course when I was a kid. And in the summer, and I was carrying their golf bags. I said, sir, if you don't mind me asking, where do you work? I was always interested because I didn't grow up with a lot of money. And they said, oh, I have my own business. I said, I don't know what I want to do, but I want to be in my own business. And I didn't sit there wanting to be a plumber. And most of you didn't plan on doing what you're doing for a living right now either. I didn't sit there junior in high school, look out the back window and ponder and say, man, someday I could change your toilet, right? But I started making $8 an hour, $10 an hour, and $12, whatever, and then we kind of fall into that category. And I want to talk to you about investing. You heard from four great speakers tonight, but Bobby Goldcool talked about the rule of 72. You don't need a seminar to tell you that 12% is better than 3%. But most of us didn't realize it's about 2.5 million better. And you and I are investors. We're investors of money and investors of time. The challenge with investing money is everybody has a different amount of money, but every one of us has the same amount of time. You got 24 hours in your day, we got 24 hours in our day, 168 hours in our week. And how you invest your time is how you're going to create leverage. I want to talk about the cash flow quadrant. The cash flow quadrant is out of a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. They talk about the cash flow quadrant, and they talk about there's 4 basic quadrants that you and I are going to go provide for a living for our family legally. The first one being an employee. It says income's based on the position, not the person. See, if you're a school teacher and I'm a school teacher and you're 10 times better, you don't make 10 times the money. If you're a letter carrier and I'm a letter carrier, you get paid for the job, right or wrong. I don't care if you got bit by a dog 6 times and I only got it 3 times, we make the same income. And as we get older, a lot of times we have more get up and went than got up and go. And as we start out as an asset to a company, and they start paying us more money as a job, as an employee, then we go from an asset to an asset liability. And then our health insurance goes up. So you get to, I'm 60 years old. I'll be 61 next month. At 61 years old, what company is going to offer me an opportunity? They could hire 4 or 5 kids right out of college. My son just graduated 2 years ago. There's 5 or 6 kids, went to a little private high school in Naples, Florida, where I live. Fancy colleges, and they still can't find a job. It's crazy. Everything's gone up in price except people's income. So when you get downsized and right-sized, what people do, I'm going to start my own business. There's a difference between being self-employed and running and operating your own business. Self-employed means what? Yourself is employed. It says right here, a dentist, a doctor, a lawyer, a hairstylist, real estate agent, anything. Now, the better you get at your craft. Now, watch this. If you're an attorney and I'm an attorney and you're 10 times better, you'll make a hell of a lot more money than me, right or wrong. I'll come visit you in jail, but you want to hire the other guy. So we all know people that are self-employed that the better they get at their craft, the more earning potential they have. The problem with the earning potential, the better you get, the more hours you put in, the more money you lose if you take off. So we all know people that are self-employed that make a lot of money, but they have no time or no freedom. Then we know other people are free all year. They don't have any money. So how do you go from being self-employed to building distribution? You could be an attorney, you could run a law firm, you could cut hair. As a hairdresser, you could open up a salon. See, a business owner says what? Owns a system, has others working for them. Manufacturing, marketing, everybody wants to be in their own business. I didn't say most people, when you walk in and own a McDonald's, aren't working there. Most people own a Dunkin' Donuts aren't working there. Do you think Jeff Bezos delivered packages to your spouse this weekend? No, right or wrong. Yet big time, they're business owners. And so what we do, folks, is we take people from the left side of the quadrant to the right side, and the last one being an investor. Has their money working for them, enjoys complete freedom, lives the dream. See, folks, what Primerica allowed us to do at 22 years old is not sell us something, but educate. People need to be educated on how money works. Think about this for a second. Middle income mark. I said, who the heck's going to listen to me? I'm 22 years old. I didn't go to college. Who's going to listen to me? I look like I was 12. But what I realized is when we put together a financial needs analysis for somebody, we walked in their house, that little slide that Mario showed all different companies, I walked in with the greatest financial minds at my back. We have billions and billions of dollars of assets under management. I don't manage anyone's money. The greatest financial minds on the planet do that. What we are is we show people and educate people on the concepts. So I want to talk about the example that Mika just went over with the family. She talked about an example. And using this little example right here, if you could put up the next slide, she says Juan and Mary. Now, these are actual clients. We changed their name. Their name's not Juan and Mary. It's Juan and Maria, okay? But if you look at these concepts right here, we show people how to save money where they're already spending it. 60 to 80% of people have the wrong kind of life insurance, and some people have no insurance. Your biggest asset is your ability to earn income. Imagine having a brand new car and having no insurance on it. You're more valuable than that. And so what we do is every time we sit down with somebody and we put together a financial game plan, the more value we provide, the more money we make. So if you got licensed part-time, we don't just give you a kit and say, let it rip, give me a call if it works out. When I started, we had to pay for our license. You're going to hear from Julie Seaman in a little bit. Our licensing fees, we pay for your licensing fees. We pay for your life license, pay for your securities license. And we take you out there step by step. You know how I used to train people back in the day? So I'm going to take you out and show you how it works. You don't ever have to do it on your own until you say, I don't need your help. They watch me do it 3 or 4 times and go, I know I could do it better than you. And then we get out and do it. So if you look at it as a district, which most people, we have a thing called a sprint to district. Within the first 2 to 4 weeks, you can get promoted to district. That's kind of part-time or spare time. I worked 80 hours a week. I taught a karate school at night. I ran my plumbing company to do. I said, I don't have a lot of time. They said, how much time don't you have? You have an extra 5 or 8 hours a week. Most people spend more than that zooming on the freaking Instagram all day long. And I realized if you sit down with a person, you help one family, it says right here, John and Mary help one family, that's $428. If you did that once a month, it takes an hour. Let's just say it takes 2 hours. $428 is not strong part-time. That's strong full-time income, right or wrong. It's like working out. It's like dieting. The more you put in, the more you get out. You stay part-time or spare time for the rest of your life. And I started doing it. All of a sudden, my first year part-time, we were paid $18,000. I'm telling you, it changed our life. This company's paid us a ton of money in the last 39 years. We just started our 39th year. You know what changed our life? Not the millions of dollars, the $18,000 part-time. I started my first investment. I started my debt elimination program. It was the first time I saw a light at the end of the tunnel. It wasn't a freaking train coming at me. See, the next slide, it talks about what if you did that 3 times in a month, once a week, less than once a week? That's an extra $1,200. If the average American right now, or North American individually makes less than $80,000, That's a 30 or 40% pay increase, part-time or spare time. You know, people right now are still trying to pay off their holiday gifts from last year, never mind a few weeks ago. And then what we do is we show you how to go from being an agent to building an agency, building distribution. You never make big money based on what you do. It's what you create. It's what you get done. So the next slide is our top part-time position. The guy who closed out my meeting said, if I could show you how to make more money part-time, would you quit your job? I was like this. I didn't believe him. I didn't understand it, but of course I would. And that's what we did. We made more money part-time here. In 1992, we quit our job and came full-time. But as a regional leader, we made more than this as a regional leader. But watch this right here. 3 personal life clients, and you build a team. So now you get paid. You could recruit, train, and develop people. You create leverage. See, how much work did the person do that invited you down here this evening? How much work did the person do that sent you a link? How much work did the person do that's sitting in the office right now? What if you invited somebody to meet with us, and we were to recruit them, we were to train them, and we were to pay them, and you were to override them? How many people? We have 150,000 licensed reps. We've got a goal, the company's got a goal to go to 200,000, right? We still have less than 3% market share of all the great things we do. We've got to grow. Distribution, our distribution is people. Part-time reps making $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month. I sat in a meeting and said, this looks like real estate. Now, we're nothing like real estate. We don't sell real estate, but the structure is similar because I knew people that sold real estate part-time while they were doing construction. I had one guy who used to teach a karate class with me, and he sold real estate part-time. The next slide talks about the real estate model. Well, if you have brokers and agents, when an agent closes this transaction, does the broker get paid? Yes. Is that legal? Yes. Yeah, it's called business. And I said, well, this doesn't sound right. The broker gets paid. He goes, when you do a job for a plumbing company, does your company get paid? I go, yeah. They make a heck of a lot more than I make. See, what happens is the big money in real estate's not selling homes, it's having homes sold. Watch this. If this broker has 1 agent and this broker has 100 agents, who do you think sells more homes? Not guaranteed, but you put some money on the one with 100. It's called leverage. See, you got to figure out there's 24 hours in your day. How do you make more hours in your day? You don't. I sat through a seminar one day, so you got to put 100 hours a day in your business. I'm like, how the heck do you do that? Well, if you got 24 hours in your day and I got 24 hours in my day, that's 48, 72, almost 100, right? 90-something, right? Stay focused. So when you look at it right here, but the problem with the agency business, the problem with real business, in my opinion, doesn't work. Why? Because everybody wants to be the boss. My landscaper who used to do the landscape in my house used to work for my landscaper. He said, Mr. Otto, I'll do your lawn for half the price. I said, you're my new landscaper. I'm building a farmhouse right now. One of the guys who was doing this, because I'll do it, well, you're my new guy, right? Everybody wants to be the boss. In real estate, next slide, once that agent becomes a broker, there's no more slides. Next one, please. Once that agent becomes a broker, see, when that agent gets promoted and wants to become a broker, then they have to leave. There's no overrides with 2 brokers. So you got one broker I live in Naples, that's trading 50 different people that are competing with them. See, in our business, it's different. We have a financial interest in your success. That means the better you do, the better we do. Do you ever train someone on your job for your company? And you know what you got? Hey, thanks. Good job. What if every time you train somebody in our business, every time they got paid, the company paid you an override? Hamburger, you would have done a better job, right or wrong? Forever and ever. See, if you look at the next slide, once a person comes on board as a representative, part-time, spare time, full-time, and all of a sudden they want to get the same contract we have. They become a broker. We call that regional vice president. They're a regional vice president. How about this? Their income goes up, our income goes up. I like that. It's a win-win situation. They have the same exact opportunity that we have. I was the foreman of the company. There was only one of us. The only time I was able to get replaced is if I left. In our business right now, they talked about it today, as we grow our licenses, we grow our distribution, we got more outlets. Their average regional vice president of our company last year was paid over $100,000. I said, my gosh, $100,000 and I have my own business and not have someone control me? Look at this right here. Personally, if you helped a couple people, and then what you did is you recruited, trained, and developed some people. You build your own company within a company. Start making $100,000 a year. See, what if that's true? See, if you look at more people making over 100,000, more people making over $1 million in North America, what you just saw, because of the concepts make sense and everybody needs what we do. Next slide, please. but it allows us to build distribution. It allows us to build outlets. It allows us to duplicate our efforts. There's 3 regional vice presidents. If you produce 3 vice presidents that are average and they make $100,000 a year, it's about a $300,000 a year income. And unlike most companies, the bigger your business gets, the less time you have. And our business, the bigger their business gets, the more freedom you have, which is crazy. So I start to wrap up and wind down. There's 5 legitimate reasons, or really excuses that people say. I don't have the capital. They say, I don't have the time. I don't have the knowledge. It's too much risk. They fear failure. I think what Primerica's done, if you look at the next, please, they've eliminated all that. Don't have the capital. What if it didn't cost you? Primerica doesn't need your money. They've got a ton of money. What they need is they need help in the distribution side. I don't have the time. How much time do we waste on Netflix? I was playing golf the other day. This like one guy goes, oh yeah, that's a great show. That's a great show. I go, bro, do you sit home and just watch Netflix all day long? Everybody has an extra 5 to 8 hours a week, which is what we did when we started part-time. Lack the knowledge. We take you step by step through the process. You go at your own pace. I'm part-time 4.5 years. I saw my business briefing in December. I didn't get my license till like April. I did not have a lot of time. The cool thing is they allow us to go at our own pace. So if you look at the difference, right, if you look at here's what makes us different, okay? The part-time opportunity. We're allowed to do this on a part-time basis. Matter of fact, we expect people to come on board part-time. The low cost of being in business for yourself, for the cost of a license, which we pay for. The third step is the unlimited referral system. Folks, I've never made a cold call. I've never knocked on doors. I never slid into someone's DM. I never walked up to someone and go, I don't know you had. Never did that. 100% of the people when we were in business showed people how to save money versus spending money. People will lead you to people. Built our whole business on a referral basis when you add value. And then the opportunity to become a regional vice president, own and operate your own business, and then developing regional vice presidents to qualify for ownership, and not just work for Primerica, but have Primerica work for you, build a company within a company. See, folks, I meet with people all the time as I close. They go, Keith, sell me on why I should work with you. I said, you sell me on why I should work with you. You sell me on why you shouldn't. What if you kept your full-time job? Give this thing 30, 60, 90 days. You'll base a decision on information versus theory. Give it 30, 60, 90 days. Let me tell you what happened. The first 30, 60, you get licensed with us. You go out there, we show you how to take somebody, we show you what we do versus tell you what we do. And in order to be convinced, and you got to be convinced. And then the third step is you'll make a bunch of money through the process. Then you base a decision. And if you decide this is not for you, you're licensed with us, anytime you refer somebody, you get paid because you're licensed. See, folks, what do you have to lose? You invite somebody to meet with the trainer, the vice president that works for you. We'll recruit them, train them, and develop. We'll show you how to build a company within a company. Folks, this company, since 39 years ago we started, under-promised and over-delivered. Take the time to learn more about what we do, and let's go build something big. Happy 2026. You're going to hear from our Chief Investment Integrity Officer, Julie Seaman. We're going to turn this over to her, and she's going to wrap it up in a quick video. Stay well.
Hi, I'm Julie Seaman, Chief Marketing and Innovation Officer of Primerica. Thanks for joining us tonight. I hope it awakened a new perspective within you to hear this kind of unique inspiration, motivation, and education. The insights you heard from some of Primerica's most successful leaders were about our mission to help families earn more income, become properly protected, debt-free, and financially independent. And they can change your financial future too. So what's next? I'd like to invite you to discover what's truly possible, starting today. If you ever imagine building something of your own, if you're curious about creating additional income part-time, or if you simply want to deepen your understanding of the powerful financial principles that Primerica equips families with every day, then this is your moment. I encourage you to take the next step and complete your Primerica Independent Business Application. And here's the best part. Right now, you can complete your IBA and join Primerica for $39. There has truly never been a better moment to explore what our company offers and to step into something new with confidence. To get started, simply connect with the Primerica representative who invited you today. Your future potential is waiting. Let's unlock it together. We're grateful you're here and excited for what comes next for you.